leading us what he went through, what the brother came and helped him, and what he was willing to put his life on the line for us to find salvation, to find our way back to God. That's why his religion was called the way. His father, the way back to God. So long as we don't get caught up in the trappings, and I know a lot of songs have been written, a lot of stuff, Jesus, just us. That's what the Europeans, that's their God. Jesus, just us. And the whole thing is that maybe you have to rewrite it, some songs, and the emphasis should be on the Most High God. Because we have plenty of prophets. Plenty of prophets. Then we have the Holy One that everybody mimics after, trying to be like, Christ-like, so you can be one with God as he was one with God. So let's say here, okay, chapter 16 of Mark. Jesus is risen. And when the Sabbath was past, Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James and Salome, had bought sweet spices that they might come and anoint him. They didn't handle his body. That was his mother and close friends and stuff. They wouldn't handle his body because they thought he was dead. So they had to wait for that period of time to go by. See? You gotta, when you think of something, you got to think about the whole. When you think of a lie, you got to think about the whole lie. And most people ain't that good to think about the whole lie. See, they mess up along the way. That's why it's tell the truth. That way you ain't got to worry about it. And then we skip down to verse 5 in chapter 16. And entering into the sepulchre, they saw a young man sitting on the right side, clothed in a long white garment, and they were frightened. And he said unto them, Be not affrighted. Ye seek Jesus of Nazareth, which was crucified, and he is risen. He is not here. Behold, the place where they laid him. So you look here, a play on words here, which was crucified. The act of crucifixion, that didn't mean he died. He did get crucified, appearing to, he did get crucified. And he got up. That don't mean, that's like, what is that leading your mind to believe something? He is risen, okay. Risen from the dead. Okay, that's leading you to believe that. But the text is revealing that that's not where he died. But go your way, tell his disciples, and Peter that he goeth before you into Galilee. There shall ye see him, as he said unto you. And they went out quickly and fled from the sepulchre, for they trembled and were amazed. Neither said they anything to any man, for they were afraid. You'll be afraid too. If somebody you thought was dead, and all of a sudden you see him alive, they'll freak you out. You're in a funeral parlor, and all of a sudden the body sit up in the coffin. Man, everybody be cleared out. You'll be afraid. You'll be afraid. And then on verse 16:9, Jesus appears to Mary Magdalene. Now when Jesus was risen, early the first day of the week, he appeared first to Mary Magdalene, out of whom he had cast 7 devils. Man. And she went and told them that they had been with him, and they mourned and wept. And they, when they had heard that he was alive and had been seen of her, believed not. They said, man, I saw him. He died. They got him on that cross. He's dead. I saw it. And Mary said, no, I saw it. One of your friends died, and all of a sudden everybody was at the funeral, and then all of a sudden they wouldn't believe you either. Then he in verse 12 and 13 of chapter 16, he appeared again to 2 disciples. And then in verse 14, afterward he appeared unto the 11 as they sat at meat, and upbraided them with their unbelief and hardness of heart, because they believed not them which had seen him after he was risen. And then you have then it says here, so then after the Lord had spoken unto them, he was received up into heaven. See, And this is in verse 19, Mark chapter 16, verse 19. Okay? So now it wasn't the cross thing. He didn't do it in the cross. He didn't do it in the cave where he was laid in sepulchre. Now it says in 19, it says, so then after the Lord had spoken unto them, he was received up into heaven, and that on the right hand of God. And they went forth and preached everywhere, the Lord working with them and confirming the word with signs following. See? And that just shows that he wasn't resurrected from the tomb. He didn't die on the cross. He wasn't resurrected from the tomb. Later on, they're just saying that he ascended into heaven. But the story goes on. Some more revealing information as we go through in Luke. You know, the fact that he sat down with them and ate a meal. Spirits don't eat. A dead man doesn't bleed. I know it was hard when they told you it wasn't no Santa Claus, but I'm not telling you that. I'm just giving you a more powerful Jesus and trying to take you down a path where Jesus never intended for you to go, which leads to destruction. It's just false teaching. It takes away from the message that Jesus has for us. Because life ain't no fairy tale. Believing in and following the word of God is not a fairy tale. And then Luke chapter 23. Jesus sentenced to death. Starting in verse 13. And Pilate, when he had called together the chief priests and the rulers and the people, said unto them, Ye have brought this man unto me as one that perverteth the people. And behold, I, having examined him before you, have found no fault in this man, touching those things whereof ye accuse him. No, nor yet Herod, for I sent you to him, and lo, nothing worthy of death is done unto him. I will therefore chastise him and release him. Then down at 22, and he said unto them the third time, Why, what evil has he done? I have found no cause of death in him. I will therefore chastise him and let him go. So when Joseph of Arimathea came to Pilate, Pilate already had the mindset to wash his hands of the whole situation. See, so he was already ready to let it go. Did he die already? It's only been 3 hours. What's going on here? Centurion, is he dead? Centurion hit him with the thing. He was part of the script probably. But in order for the scriptures to be fulfilled, his side had to be pierced. But blood and water came out. A dead man don't bleed. Jesus sentenced to die. Okay, we did that. The way to the cross. All right, let's get to let's see here. 20. In verse 33. 23:33. And when they were come to the place which is called Calvary, there they crucified him, and the malefactors, one on the right hand and the other on the left. Then said Jesus, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And they parted his raiment and cast lots. And the people stood beholding, and the rulers also with them derided him, saying, He saved others. Let him save himself, if he be Christ, the chosen of God. And the soldiers also mocked him, coming to him, and offering him vinegar, and saying, If thou be the king of the Jews, save thyself. If thou be Christ, save thyself and us. That's one of the malefactors which were hanged, railed on him. Then we go to verse 44. And it was about the 6th hour, and there was darkness all over the earth until the 9th hour. And the sun was darkened, and the veil of the temple was rent in the midst. Looks like it's during the Sabbath period. It's dark out, the sun has gone down, the Sabbath has begun. And when Jesus had cried with a loud voice, he said, Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. And having said this, he gave up the ghost. He put Jesus in charge. Once he had that potion in him, he was out of control. Then he said, "Hey, whatever's gonna happen, I'll put it in your hands now, Lord. I prayed about it. I put it in your hand, and it's up to you now. It's up to you now." So when he passed out, everything went into motion to make sure his life was saved. Papa came to get him. If he had some inside connections and so forth with the centurion, and Pilate's mind was already set up for to come get the body. Let's see. Now when the centurion saw what was done, he glorified God, saying, "Certainly this was a righteous man." Okay. And that day there was a preparation, and the Sabbath drew on, and the women also which came with him from Galilee followed after, and beheld the sepulchre, and how his body was laid. Now, the resurrection of Jesus, 24. Now, upon the first day of the week, very early in the morning, they came into the sepulchre, bringing the spices which they had prepared, and certain others with them. And they found the stone rolled away from the sepulchre. And they entered in and found not the body of the Lord Jesus. See, they was expecting to find his body because you couldn't handle the body during the Sabbath period, so they were just coming in to put some ointment on the body. And it came to pass, as they were much perplexed thereabout, behold, 2 men stood by them in shining garments. And let's look here at verse 24, verse 13. And behold, 2 of them went that same day to a village called Emmaus, which was from Jerusalem about 60 furlongs. And they talked together all these things which had happened. And it came to pass that while they communed together and reasoned, Jesus himself drew near and went with them. Drew near. He was walking. And that's quite a distance there. 3 furlongs, about 60 furlongs. It's quite a distance. He wasn't a spirit, yet he was still man. And he still was strong. Because he drew near and went with them. But their eyes were holden, that they should not know him. And he said unto them, What manner of communication are these that ye have one to another, as ye walk and are sad? And the one of them, whose name was Cleophas, answering, said unto him, Thou art only a stranger in Jerusalem, and hast not known the things which are come to pass there in these days. And he said unto them, What things? And they said unto him concerning Jesus of Nazareth, which was a prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all the people. That's the context there. They had a proper context. Proper context. And how the chief priests and our rulers delivered him to be condemned to death, and have crucified him. But we trusted that it had been he which should have redeemed Israel. And beside all this, to this day, the 3rd day since these things were done. Yes, and certain women also of our company made us astonished, which were early at the sepulchre. And when they found not his body, they came saying that they had also seen a vision of angels, which said he was alive. And certain of them which were with us went to the sepulchre and found it even so as the women had said. But him they